While I had the 1205 Felpro gasket on here, there's something I thought I'd show you. Now, I tell all my customers this whenever they get them, if they buy the gaskets. If you'll notice, I always scribe the line, of course. You can see this guy, I guess he scribed it. I'm hoping he did to a blue stripe because he did a real bad job. But thank God he left me enough meat to go in there and really get this straightened out. But if you'll notice on the gasket, let me try to get you a really good shot here. Okay, here's the blue stripe there. Now, when I port this head, I'm going to be scribing it to the line that is here on the gasket or to my Brzezinski plate. I tell people when they get the gasket to go in there on the gasket itself and trim this black back all the way to the bead. Now you can do that with a couple of different cutters that they have on a Dremel tool. So what you'll do, and I'll show you how I do this sometime, is I take the Dremel tool and I'll trim the black to where it almost but not quite touches the blue silicone bead. The reason I do this is because these gaskets, when they're printed and stamped, they can be uneven, but what I've noticed is if you trim the black to where it almost touches the blue, not quite, maybe about 10 or 20 thousandths, then when you put this on here, you won't have no overhang into the port of gasket material. The center divider is a good example here, if I can get that close enough. Okay, notice how on this side it's almost touching the blue. Look how much black overhang, and I can feel it inside the port. So you take the gasket, take your Dremel tool, and trim the black back where it gets close to that line. Now personally myself, when I put together a motor, I'll take my finger, put some blue or red RTV, and put on the back side of this gasket just a thin layer, especially right around the water ports. But this is so that after I trim it, you know, it stays in position when I'm aligning the manifold, and I have got a trick I'll show you on that. But I just wanted to point that out with the gasket while I had it. Now what I'm going to do is we're getting ready for the fun part. Oh, there was one more thing I was wanting to show you. There used to be an older style of bronze guides, and this guy put the old style in there. They're cheaper, the tooling's cheaper, but there's a problem. They're wound up like a coil. Let me back up a little bit. Here's an example. I pulled that out right there, that coil wire, that was a bronze guide. Okay, the new style, which are flat, and I'll show you, are not like that. They will not come out this way. They're not wound like that. But I do not like this style because even if you hand hone them, you get protrusions inside the guide sometimes after they've been run a while. I've just had bad experience with this style. Look at that, boingy, boingy, boingy. This is the style that I use. I use the K-line bronze liners, okay, and they won't quite uncurl like that. This is the style that's got the lines in it for the little bit of oiling. It's supposed to help retain oil. I'd love to do some kind of study to see which is best, but I've just always liked a little bit of lines in it. But the point is, these won't uncurl like them. I'm fixing to take one out of the head. I guess I'll show you that. That kind of throws a wrench in my works because now I got to pull all these guides out of this head and put all new guides in it. I think I got one that's about ready to come apart here. Hold on. Let me focus on this. Let me see if I can get it. Okay. Now, see, look at here. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Look at that shit. I mean, come on, guys. If you're going to put liners in people's heads, don't put this shit in there. it just does not make smooth. Now, I'm going to go in there and put all new liners in there, because when I see this, I'm not sending a Headbytes head out the door with this junk shit in there. Alright, anyway, I'm glad you got to see that. Unfortunately, I am the one that has to deal with it. But anyway, let's get on to what we're doing right now. As you know, I've already went in there and done some of the roof mods and dug that trench. The reason I had to stop right now is now I've got to go in here and take my finger burr and move the walls. So I'm going to go ahead and begin my trenching. Now, remember that I'm not purposely trying to bust through the wall. Most of the time it ends up busting. I'm trying to take that gigantic hump bulge out of there, and then I got to turn around and hit the roof and pull it in, so it's kind of like a double mold. Let's see what I got here. Notice how I'm spending most of my time. I'm not coming back here all the way. I'm putting it right there. Okay. Now I'm going to continue to do that. Let's try to get in here and see. Alright, wow. See the big section that I cut out of it? Okay, I'm going to try to straighten that wall out the best that I can. Also, I wanted to show you how I double make sure when I'm getting ready to put the tubes in, and you have to do this first before you bust through or have a problem. If you don't, it won't ever straighten out. Let me go ahead and back up and show you this one thing.